With that, I'll call the meeting to order. Roll call, please. Here.
David Morrison.
Here.
Travis Morrison.
Here.
Shane Drift.
Here.
Peter Bowen.
Excused. Next, we have a approval of the agenda.
I would like to add Brandon Benner to the agenda for culture leave, regarding culture leave.
Put it under you, Shane.
Where?
Should we put Brandon after you?
Sure.
Cultural leave?
Yep.
Okay. Any other additions to the agenda? Now I'll call for a motion to approve the agenda with that addition.
Move.
Moved by Shane. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Travis. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Silent? Motion carried. Next, we have approval of the minutes from our meeting held February 5th at Lake Vermilion.
I have a couple of things I'd like to, if you look on scroll over to page 3.
Good one.
At the very bottom, there we're talking at that big paragraph there, and we're talking about the Nett Lake School Board. Did we continue on with looking into that?
I'm not sure. Just for everybody's knowledge, Jenna Letty, our former executive director, was appointed by the Tribal Council to serve as general manager at Fortune Bay Resort Casino. And so we are now having our directors fill in as acting capacity for the executive director position. This week is Randy Long. Next week will be Sidra Starkovich, and they're taking 2-week intervals. So we'll have to check with Jenna on that. I don't know if Randy was aware of that, so we will look into that.
And if you scroll over to page 6, when Doris was talking about the Volkswagen Mitigation Trust Agreement, I think her and Joel presented that. Would it be possible to reimburse the Nett Lake School for the bus that they purchased? They purchased a new bus, or they're going to be purchasing a new bus. Would it be possible to reimburse them? You know.
It's going to depend on the GVW of the bus and the year of the bus and what kind of engine is in it. There's
Okay.
a lot of classifications you have to make this happen. Like I had a couple trucks one truck that was rejected because it didn't fit the criteria of that. But if they find out, yeah, I mean, I don't know if you can do it after the fact, Doris, but so Doris says you can't do it after the fact, so that probably wouldn't work. But.
Okay. Thank you. And I want you to go over to page 7, and this is when we were talking about the resolution regarding charges on individuals who steal from the band and/or tribal government, destroys band property. I'd just like to read something from the Minnesota Chippewa Tribe website. This is from the first page, and it says, "Who we are. The preamble of the Constitution of the Minnesota Chippewa Tribe sets forth the purposes, aspirations, and goals of the Union of the 6-member reservations. The preamble states that the 6-member reservations of the Minnesota Chippewa Tribe come together in order to form a representative Chippewa tribal organization, maintain and establish justice for our tribe, and to conserve and develop our tribal resources and common property, and to promote the general welfare of ourselves." You know, and that's basically what I was trying to do here with this resolution. It wasn't trying to be a dictatorship. It's just trying to basically look out for all our band members, our tribal government, our businesses. That's all I was trying to do. Thank you.
Comments on the minutes? If not, I'll call for a motion to approve the February 5th, 2020 meeting minutes.
Move.
Moved by Shane, is there a second? Second by Dave, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, silent, motion carried. Morning.
Good morning. I'd like to introduce Dave L. Jones as our new recruiting and onboarding specialist for the Human Resources Department.
Excited to be back in HR. Excited on this new job, learning new things. So
Good.
Okay, next we have the consent agenda. Appointed Ray Toutloff and Linda Tibbetts-Barto to the Health and Human Services Board. Approved the request from Jill Schuchard to sole source a tub replacement for an elder from BRB Services LLC in the amount of $4,500. Adopted resolution number 69, 2020, authorizing the Laurentian Chamber of Commerce to conduct a raffle at their annual meeting being held at Fortune Bay on February 28, 2020. Adopted resolution number 70, 2020, appointing Ted M. Johnson to serve as the band's election contest judge and Sara Van Norman to serve as the band's alternate election contest judge for the 2020 regular election. Approve the use of the Bois Forte logo by the American Indian Cancer Foundation to be used on their letter of support for state legislation in regard to Medicaid Assistance for Breast and Cervical Cancer Treatment. Adopted resolution number 71, 2020, endorsing letter of support by the American Cancer Foundation, urging Minnesota lawmakers to adopt two bills, S. Senate File 3121 and House File 3322 regarding Medicaid assistance for breast and cervical cancer treatment. Appointing of individuals to election boards, Gloria Love as chair of the General Election Board, Tammy Strong as chair of District 1 Election Board, Develle Jones as clerk of District 1 Election Board, Linda Shikes as teller of District 1 Election Board, Ray Villeburn Jr. as alternate of District 1 Election Board. Approved IHS-L lease payback agreement accepting payment in the amount of $467,601 from IHS. Any comments on the consent agenda?
Yes, this is regarding the resolution 69-2020, authorizing the Laurentian Chamber of Commerce to conduct a raffle at their annual meeting being held at Fortune Bay. They are no longer going to be holding their event there, so I think we should strike that from the consent agenda.
Okay. Is that it?
That's it.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda? With that change?
Move.
Moved by Travis. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Shane. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Silent? Motion carried. Next, we have Tara Gizik with the 2020 netting code. Spring is coming. Yay. Morning, Tara. Oh, okay. I didn't have any questions on it. Did you? Anybody? Okay. Go ahead, Tara. Okay. By the committee. Go ahead. Okay, I know that there's been some discussion, kind of, regarding the area that we're netting in, and I think we're gonna be looking at that for next year. The, area that we claim to be netting in, so, yeah, the border, the map. Okay, good. I mean, are we gonna expand that more, or, because I know that, you know, there's been concerns with, you know, Fond du Lac coming into the Lake Vermilion, and we know they're going on the west side this year. But we're just wondering if next year they'll probably be coming over to our side again. And we know that they keep records of every fish and weigh and male, female, whatever, but I know that there's been discussion or talk about possibly expanding our area that we're claiming for Bois Forte. Yep. Yep. No. Yep. But I think that would be a good conversation to start, maybe even during netting season, so people can, it seems like, you know, when you get into seasons like hunting, you're big on hunting, well then you kind of forget about it after the season's gone. So if we can just get ready for next year. I mean, even though we're not doing it yet this year, it just seems like time flies really fast. So, yeah. Yep, because I don't know if time just goes fast as.
Maybe talk with our netters and stuff, you know, looking at our self-imposed restrictions, maybe.
While they're netting and.
Yeah, talk it over with them and see how they like the idea of going all the way across Pike Bay, because Fond du Lac said they weren't in our area, but we had people here, not in our little green zone that we got set up, Pike Bay. So they're not in on this end of the lake this year, but next year they will be. So we're thinking maybe if we exercise our right all the way across Pike Bay, actually paddle all the way across to net it, but at least we're in that area and keep. We can address that when we meet with them at the 1854 office.
Yep. I know that Fond du Lac has requested a meeting again this year, just to, it just came out to just discuss, I think they, as part of their agreement with the state, they say they're gonna meet with, or once a year. Sure. Sure, it just came out, so nothing's been set up or discussed about it yet. So, but yeah, I think that's part of their agreement with the state, that they meet with the 1854 once a year, contact with them. So, and we usually try to do that way earlier, before netting season, in case, you know, because we do discuss moose too, because they have a different moose season than we do.
We'd like to do is declare our area. We just got this one little area, and we don't go anywhere else. So, yep.
Yeah. Any other comments or questions on the 2020 netting code? Not, I'll call for a motion to approve. Moved by Dave. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Travis. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Silent? Motion carried. Tara, we'll let you know about that meeting date once it's set. Yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, for the, yep. Okay. Thank you. Yep, have a good day. Oh, Darren.
How can the council approve the netting code when the committee hasn't actually approved it yet?
Tara mentioned that she did get approval from the chair of the committee to go ahead because it's getting late.
Yeah, doesn't the code
I
say,
can answer that.
Go ahead, Tara.
doesn't the code say it needs to be approved by the committee?
No,
It doesn't?
no. They're the ultimate decision makers on this. The committee, I just present it to them, review it, if they have any adjustments or anything.
Okay, so the DNR will set the season, but they like to collaborate with the committee?
Yeah, the 1854 actually sets that, because that's their thing, and then set of eyes,
Yeah.
set of eyes looking at that, and then it goes to the council for,
Okay, so it doesn't actually have to go to the
it
committee?
doesn't
nice
necessarily
to-
have to, it's just an
Okay, thank you.
Good. Thank you, good question.
And this has been approved before too, right?
Yeah. By the conservation, yeah. Okay, Doris and Sidra. Thanks, Dar. Good morning. Good morning again.
Good morning.
But before you, the resolution was prepared by, can you hear me?
Yeah.
By Jeff Holt.
Okay.
And, you recall, I presented last meeting the Volkswagen Mitigation Trust and explained what it was. And I did, there was some questions about immunity. And according to Jeff Holt, that it, I'll read this part where he, for the sake of the audience, it says, attached for your review is a draft resolution approving the band's participation in the third funding cycle of the Volkswagen Indian Trust mitigation, authorizing the chairwoman to execute the documents necessary to obtain beneficial status. Not the part I want to read. Okay, it says, second paragraph. As I said, there is little, if any, risk to the band's participation as a beneficiary in the third funding cycle, as long as the band complies with the trust agreement and utilizes the trust funds for eligible purposes. The band would not be liable under the agreement. So even though the band's consent to federal court jurisdiction may be deemed a waiver of sovereign immunity, that waiver is not concerning because it is limited, number one, limited to disputes arising under the agreement, and number two, it cannot subject the band to liability as long as the band complies with its obligation as a beneficiary. And so there was a question about what the other tribes that are already in have done with this, and I have spoke to both Red Lake and Fond du Lac and their councils waiver. Then the next question was exactly how long does Jeff's opinion is that although the agreement doesn't specify that, it's his opinion that it lasts for filed our last reports with them, and then so I have the resolution before you. Do you want me to read it?
Sure.
Okay. I'll skip the
Yeah.
top whereases. Whereas part of their settlement of claims for illegal emissions testing device, certain Volkswagen diesel vehicles, Volkswagen, well, it lists a bunch of Volkswagen, EAG, Volkswagen Group of America, and Volkswagen Group of America operations were required to establish an Indian mitigation trust that would fund environmental mitigation projects to reduce emissions of nitrogen oxides. Whereas the ban has been notified of the opportunity to participate as a beneficiary in the third funding cycle of the Indian Tribe Mitigation Trust under subparagraph 5.05.1b of the Environmental Mitigation Trust Agreement for Indian Tribe beneficiaries, which is attached here to exhibit. Whereas the Bois Forte Reservation Council believes that the band's participation as a beneficiary in the third funding cycle of the Indian Tribe Mitigation Trust will further the health, general welfare, and economic well-being of the members of the band and the reservation community by providing funding for the band to reduce emissions of nitrogen oxides through eligible nitrogen mitigation actions. And how therefore be it resolved that the Bois Forte Reservation Tribal Council authorizes and approves the band's participation in the third funding cycle of Indian Tribe Mitigation Trust and the submission of the documentation necessary to obtain beneficiary status, including the certification for beneficiary status under Environmental Mitigation Trust Agreement and the officer's certification for Intralinks access pre-beneficiary designation. And be it further and finally resolved that the Bois Forte RTC authorizes Kathy Chambers necessary to obtain beneficial status for the band. Be it further and finally resolved that the Bois Forte RTC designates the band's Community Development and Planning Department as the lead agency responsible for ensuring that all actions, reporting, and other obligations required of the band as beneficiary under the Indian Tribe Mitigation Trust are followed. And I also attached a list of vehicles that are potential eligible, and all but the first one out of the 6 are eligible to be replaced. If you recall, the way they appropriate the money is they will take the total sum divided by the number of beneficiaries in the agreement, and everybody will get that share equally. And then the other half will be divided according to population. So it's unknown at this point but I'm guessing around 200,000 to 300,000.
That's good.
Yeah.
And it's nice that, you know, we're the third tribe to do this, so that's even better. I mean, anything we can do. I look and it's like our plow trucks are on here, and these things can be very expensive. So. Job. Any questions?
Yes, you know, when I brought that up about this waiving the sovereignty and all that, it's just that every time when I see that on a contract or something like that, this just makes me weary, so that's why I questioned it. Do you ladies know when we'll receive notification that it's been awarded?
Long process, and I recall it's in August we will find it.
Thank you.
Good work. Good legwork there for even answering the questions, I think. Any other questions or comments? Not a call for a motion to approve the resolution for beneficiary status under the Volkswagen Environmental Mitigation Trust Agreement. That's a lot.
Move.
Moved by Shane. Is there a second? Second. Second by Dave. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Silent? Motion carried. Good job, ladies. Next, we have Dan Milbridge with the agreement for University of Minnesota Extension. Morning, Dan. That's okay.
Had a question for Mr. Goodsky, and he's very detailed answer for me. So,
Okay.
This is a cut and dried grant, which we will be contracting with the University of Minnesota to, Becca Adams will leave our employment and work for them, and we will be providing them a grant to help pay for her
Oh,
to provide ship services. So it's, we're working in collaboration with the University of Minnesota. We'll actually should be actually paid at a higher rate with them, and she'll also have educational opportunities working for them. So
they're doing the ship, and then is she still going to do her, combining the position then? So
Yep.
she'll still do what she's doing, and this is a 5-year period.
yeah, it's just kind of a funding, creative way to do funding, and hand it to Terry Morrison for working it all out.
Mm-hmm.
She did a good job.
Great, it's like, what, 82,000 a year or more? When does this go into effect?
Coming up,
Yeah,
started February 15th.
okay. Good, good deal. Great opportunity for Becca.
Yes.
But and there is a cap on indirect cost, I see,
Yeah.
15%, but that's what happens with, I know our Head Start program is capped at 15%, so that's some of the funding or the requirements of some of the grants and contracts that, but that's no problem.
Right.
Good. Any questions for Dan with regards to the agreement for University of Minnesota Extension? Not a call for a motion to approve.
Move.
Moved by Shane. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Travis. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Silent? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have Corey and Elena Drift. Bois Forte Tribal Government Employee Access Badge Policy. Morning.
So, for, access badge, so what it is, a few months ago, Randy was talking about getting, ID cards with access on.
Oh, good.
That employee would have to pay $15. So if you look at the policy, it's short, and to the point. The
Okay.
got back to me yesterday with it.
So once someone's hired, they'll fill this out on their,
Yep.
and then they'll get their badge that day, and they're good to go, and they can have access to the
Yep, to
code,
their doors, yep.
instead of having the little fobs.
Yeah, so like, for example, like mine, I have my badge,
Okay,
and then I have a key fob, so there's kind of a lot on mine.
yeah,
So I guess it'd be easier to have the badge and the access. If I'm wrong, I don't know, Randy, if you remember, I think access on the badges.
Yes, we can.
Oh.
The dollar amount associated on this form is reflective on the cost of the card itself, which is about $7 a card now, and the time involved it takes HR to put
Okay.
another one together.
oh,
Yep.
yep. A minute, okay,
We
good,
have the form, so what I hope for is if this goes, I
Mhm.
hope to set up a day to start getting employees down
Okay.
and do it by department. Fill out this form and give us the form, and I would keep in,
okay,
who gets the form, who turns it in. After they come here and get the badge, we'd send them over to IT, where IT would give them the right access they need.
oh, okay,
And so the only department right now that we have in here that's mandatory to wear theirs is the Health and Human Services Department.
that'll be nice to have everything in one card,
Yes.
even with employees or people, you know, accessing the fitness center, that 3 different access gets kind of fobs and
Yeah,
everything, yeah.
it's a lot.
It's a little, might as well just
Yeah.
all in one. Good. And then, would you like this effective today then, so you can start setting up?
Yeah, if it gets effective today, then I can start working with IT, and then we can pick a day when we
Okay.
start getting departments in.
Any questions for Elena or Randy or Corey?
Now, with these ID card things, they'd only be able to access the building during regular business hours? They wouldn't be coming here at 7 o'clock at night to get in or anything?
That's depending on the programming within our system. Based on the employee and their job function, we can program it to have 24/7 access if needed.
Okay.
If no other questions, I'll call for a motion to approve the Bois Forte Tribal Government Employee Access Badge Policy, effective today. And then you'll add this into the personnel policy, correct?
Yep, and then I'll
Okay.
also send an email to all employees letting and then also giving them the day and time that.
Okay, great. Do we have a motion to approve?
Move.
Moved by Shane. Is there a second? Second by Dave. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Silent? Motion carried. Good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Corey Strong with his general election board change.
Okay. On Monday. I'm an alternate and be there. Past experience and stuff and knowledge. Stanley Day is willing to step up and do the chair duties
Okay.
as long as local Gloria is involved. All of us said, that's fine, we need to go before the tribal council.
Okay.
Your positions, and so. General election board chair.
Okay.
And
Any
if that could be
question?
effective today, probably.
Effective today?
Yep.
Okay. If not, I'll call for a motion to approve the general election board change as proposed by Corey, with Stan Day as board chair and Gloria Love as board alternate.
Move.
Moved by Shane. Is there a second? Second by Dave. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Silent? Motion carried. Good job, Cora. Good job, Elena.
Next, we have Shane Drift with a discussion on out-of-state travel.
Yes, reading the internet now, listening on Facebook, there's a concerns that were passed on to me by some of the employees regarding the coronavirus. And me and myself, I would like to maybe even restrict our out-of-state travel to the states that have known cases of it, just to be on the safe side. I'd just like to put that on the table for discussion and see where we go from there.
I know that, I think they add a state almost every other day or every day. I know that Illinois and Wisconsin, and I think there's maybe eight states. They don't really know what's causing it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean, I'd hate to see, where if we send one of our employees out to one of the states that have the cases and then they end up contracting it, and it's like, wow, we just think we could have prevented that.
I think it's also that they're kind of not sure how it's being transmitted. They're saying, wash your hands. Now there's going to be a shortage of the antibacterial soaps and stuff that you buy, and hand washes, and the masks now are going to be a shortage of, because some people are selling them on Amazon for like $200 for masks, and there's really price gouging going on up there. And, I can understand employees' concerns, but I think right now we really don't know how it's contracted. And it could be contracted just by somebody having contact with another person in the state that may be carrying it. Because one of the concerns they said was that this person, and I think it was out in Washington, they were around for like 6 weeks before they even came down, with the full sickness of the virus. But it's up to the council what to do with this.
I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
I just say cautious though. Travel, because I'm going on vacation in April, and that's where I'm thinking now. Geez, do I really want to do that? I already paid for it and everything, and I'm going to go anyway. But
I know another thing is some of our staff may have to go out of state for
Requirements.
their requirements or whatever. So I know that's going to be a tough call. But another thing is I know that Terry and Nikki have been emailing the staff on the coronavirus and what to do to get ready for it. But I know that we should also inform the communities of Vermilion and Nett Lake here and let them know what the plan is and what to look for. Maybe something that I know that Terry and them are putting that email out, but maybe something should be mailed out to the household membership or something to make them aware of that, because I know that you're right that stuff are flying off the shelves, like the masks and stuff like that.
Hand sanitizers.
And like you said, they're gouging, and they're just looking for a way to. Someone's out there trying just look for a way to make money off this, and so that's something that maybe our CHRs or something could go out and go door to door or something and get just to make people aware of this, because I know people must be watching on TV and news like that, because it's, and I know that I was going to go to a meeting at the end of this month out to San Diego, but I'm getting hesitant about maybe going out that way, because there's so many things that are happening in those airports that are out on the west coast there. So I'm kind of not not going, because I don't wanna, get something and come back and affect our reservation, so. But I know Tara has a comment, so.
Go ahead, Tara.
Oh, I was just gonna say, if you guys can send something out, then, you know, program
Sure.
or, you know, after you guys make decisions, sorry. Are going to do a restriction on travel, or you're not gonna do a restriction on travel, and any precautions that you might wanna take if we do. I do have an employee that has a we needed direction on,
Yep.
you know, go, do we not? Because I already booked travel, the flight, and take a, you know, penalized for not going. But also, we could participate by phone, but as you know, it's not
Yeah.
as effective
Right.
as being in person.
Okay. Good. Okay. Thank you, Tara.
I think that, we could even take that one step further, if we, sounds like the council wants to just allow the travel, everybody be cautious on their travel. But also to have something in place for the community. That's why I sent that email over the weekend, that we should look at being prepared, I know other ones are kind of downplaying it, it's not gonna happen, all that, we don't know. It's a serious situation, and I take our band members' safety seriously.
I know
And,
that, oh, go ahead, Shane, sorry.
So, and that's why I sent out that email and put that on Facebook, is that, we gotta look out for our band members, period.
I was talking with a gal yesterday, and I know like here's an example, the IRRB people, staff are up in Canada meeting with international leaders. And so I know we do have those grant requirements, and maybe we leave it up to the supervisors and staff. If staff aren't willing to go, I would hope that supervisors would honor that. But if it's a grant requirement, we really have to go. Because we don't want to jeopardize that grant for not going.
Well, I think, yes, that'd be a good point, myself, if I was gonna go to, let's say,
State of Washington, use that one.
like, yeah, as an example, I wouldn't wanna fly, I'd rather drive. So there should be some type of compromise. If someone doesn't feel safe flying, then we should let them drive.
Yep, good point. Brandon?
Came down from the school and we had one of our staff up there. Keys. Asked her, well, weren't you? Yes. I threw it out there, then I thought about it, and I was trying to read and search on it, and to me it's and now she's in. Not by any fault of hers or anything, I'm not condemning her, but that's just the reality of the. People say, oh, you shouldn't be scared. Well, tells me that it's about, I think it is. Side note, I served there's maybe 1 years, and certainly none of them are worth bringing that. If it is something that can be, Millbridge and his crew can figure out, but like I said, that was the reality of it. It didn't really hit me till I'm sitting there right across from this lady, and there's like 5 other parents looking at her like, oh. It was kind of a reality check, like, what do we know about it? So.
Thank you, Brandon.
Yeah, another thing too is that, we should try to get more information, whatever, but again, it's kind of a scary, but last Friday, I know one of the basketball players wasn't at the game, and so the next day I was talking to Angelo, and I asked him where that boy was, but because I know that he hurt his knee in an earlier game, and so I just thought he sat out because of his knee, but Angelo told me that he went to Hawaii, and so again, you have a young man that goes to school at Northwoods, and he went to Hawaii, and I imagine, they probably had to land in one of the airports in California to get the flight to Hawaii again. But then but you have people that are still going, still traveling, and they're going back and forth, and and like I said, you never know what they're gonna come in contact with, whether they're and there's probably people they're coming back and forth to Minnesota, and so it's just something, it's a precaution that we gotta be aware of and think about really doing. But again, like I said, maybe we should get some staff together and get some community men, get some community input on just to kind of get the community to let them know what maybe possibly we could be looking at, and again, like I said, that people are already kind of stocking up on some of the items, and they're saying that they're not hoping that there's not going to be a shortage on water, that the bottled water that like Walmart and Target and them stock up on. But again, you've got something that we should be making the community aware of, so they have an idea of what they should be stocking up on. But I know Doris has a comment here to make, so I'll let Doris talk.
Doris?
Be brief. I know the CDC is trying to encourage people not to panic, but when you watch the news, you can't help but panic or feel, apprehensive. And I know I myself went out to Virginia and Duluth at Walgreens and looked for a particular item, and they didn't know when they were going to be restocked. But some of the organizations are preparing organization-wide for it if it does come into your community. They're talking about mandatory self-confinement and to not quarantine if a person is sick, to stay home for 2 weeks, and then so people like me don't have that type of sick leave. What's the organization going to do? Are they going to allow people to work from home and internet or whatever? Just these kinds of things, I think senior management should be looking at and coming up with a plan, because it may not get that bad, it may not strike, but it would be nice to be prepared. I remember we had, Janelle was the health director a few years ago, and with some other virus scare, and we talked about it and we stocked up, we made sure all the elders had water and flashlights. Never happened.
It's okay. Better to be
But we were
proactive.
prepared.
Yeah.
Anyway, just a suggestion.
Thank you, Doris. Tara?
When I spoke up before, I just think maybe you should try the pharmacy. What do we have? Remember, like all of our over-the-counter stuff is less.
Yeah.
You know, we have it cheaper here. Let's take stock. What's the stock that we have on hand right now? So we aren't. So our people aren't getting price gouged out there.
Right.
So maybe we should take a look at what we got here, and then buy in bulk here, and make that available.
Good.
So we don't get price gouged
Right.
elsewhere.
Yep. Good idea. Thank you. Barb?
I think another thing that we could do is get an official statement through our health department and do a PSA on our radio station. I think we need to start using our radio station to get the information out. He has access to the internet.
Good idea. Thank you. I know that, oh, go ahead, Brandon.
I think it's on you guys to go personally check this out, you know. Go to these places that are infected, and if you guys come home sick, no, just kidding.
I was just gonna say, what? Touche. Good one, Brandon.
Love your people.
Good humor there, Brandon. Good humor. Yes, Darren.
I was just thinking, it sounds like a lot of people don't know much about the coronavirus. CDC does. Maybe we could hold a community meeting and educate people. Get some little hand washing stations to show people how to wash their hands properly. And maybe it would calm down everybody's fear, because they're going to watch this meeting now and go, oh, are they going to restrict travel? It must be really bad, you know? So we should probably educate them, get the health involved, get the doctors down here to talk about it. Lots of information on the CDC website.
Okay, thank you, Darren. Nikki? I see you coming. Good morning.
The community members, that aren't signed up for Everbridge. We need to get people. So right now,
Yeah.
you know, CDC and MDH. That I would recommend.
Good, thank you, Nikki. I think just as an FYI too, I think about having contact with people. The casinos bring in a lot of people, and a lot of people from all over. So I think our senior management and Fortune Bay senior management will be meeting on Thursday together, and I think we'll discuss this there. And then also, I believe, I like the idea of the community meetings. I wrote that on my notes here, a community presentation in Nett Lake and Vermilion. So if Dan, is Dan still here? If we can get the health department to do some presentations for the community, and like Darren said, even, I mean, I've seen it on Good Morning America and the Today Show and all this, proper hand washing, you know, making sure you take the proper steps to ensure that this is being done. And it's more of a preventative method, but I think we need to get that information out there, even on KBFT. I like that public service announcement. The more we see, it's going to come. I don't know where or when, but it's going to be a pandemic. I mean, it's in the United States now. It wasn't before, and more states are getting added. So I think the more we're proactive about it and get the word out, the more people will be educated on what it is. And there is that self-quarantine like Doris talked about, you know, if you're sick, stay home, but if you don't have the leave, you know, these are things we can discuss with senior management and Fortune Bay management also, so, good discussion, very good. And Nikki is our new emergency preparedness individual, and she's working with Terry Morrison, who's our community health nurse. And so we'll make sure that both sides of the reservation have this information and supplies. Like Nikki said, they are stocking up, so, but it's getting the word out to the people, letting them know that this is being done. We can say it here, but we got to get the word out, so we will get that done.
I think another thing is, I know last week when the girls, the girls Northwoods team was getting ready to play their first round game with Chisholm, and I know Marty was interviewing Rob about the basketball game that evening, and Rob was discussing on his plan for the game, and maybe that's something that we can talk with Darren and Marty and the KBF crew to maybe interview our our doctors,
Yeah.
and maybe Dan and maybe Nikki or something, and they could just even if it's just a 20-minute, 30-minute session, you know,
Yeah.
that's going to be a lot of information that they can share, and then maybe Darren and Brandon and KFB staff can, you know, get a bunch of questions on what they want to ask, you know, our medical team, and so they can get that information, you know, out there, and then let, you know, like I said, and Barb brought that up about that, but again, that's a good idea to try to get, you know, just more information out there, and, you know, utilizing KFBT would really go a long way.
Yeah, good.
Okay. Next, we'll have Brandon Benner with Cultural Leave.
Morning, Brandon.
Okay, that was a very good discussion there. And I guess what I'm here to talk about is, or just ask you to, you know, change some things as far as cultural leave, and I honestly don't know how that works right now, but I know as far as the cultural leave and things people get excused for or not excused for, I know it's kind of hard on, there's very few of us that are, you know, trying our best to keep our songs and our culture and everything going and alive and passed down to the next generation. You know, Squidge was here earlier, but he has a drum. Chaz Wagner has a drum. I think Shane does, you know, and there's probably about 10 singers, 10 to 12 singers, and you know, it's hard some days when somebody asks for us for a funeral, somebody asks for us at the school function, or if there's a grand opening ceremony or anything like that. It's really it's hard to get singers, because a lot of them are faced with, do I use 2 or 3 hours of my leave and go sing, or is my, you know, some of them don't have leave to spare, is what I'm saying. So, and some of them may have a day or two, and those are pretty valuable to them. So they're stuck with a choice, and you know, like Squidge and Chaz and those guys, they're getting requests for their drum now, and it's hard to find the singers, because the singers are deciding, do I hang on to my 1 or 2 days of leave, or do I take the ride and go sing? I know we were at a good conference that Panda put together at the Bay, and it was, you know, we had 4 of us there. There would have been 3 of us there, but good old Geo turned around and came back and helped us out. And I just think, you know, like at the Nett Lake School, their functions, Northwoods, where we're trying to go and promote and be proud of our culture, sometimes we have 1 dancer. And, you know, we have 4 singers. And what I'm saying is that it would be nice to have 10 singers. We sound better. And if there would be 10 to 12 dancers there, then people look and they're like, you know, wow, this is who they are. And our younger kids would be able to say, this is who we are. And, you know, you get more people that would want to come and sing and dance. And, you know, I know the argument before was, you know, what if you get a stipend and you're on the clock? You know, like I said, I served where you guys are, and I know that for 2 of the committees I was on, I got paid on the clock from here, and I got a stipend, and for both committees. So there, you know, there's not, if I don't think that was wrong, is wrong. What I'm saying is the same should apply when we're trying to keep our culture alive. And I know, you know, everybody every year talks about the culture, and they put it in their platform that they want to keep the culture alive. Not only you 4 and Chief, but everybody hoping to gain a seat up there also does it. So to me, it shouldn't be an issue. And I know when some people run pretty tight ships, and if these events are posted a month or 2 weeks before, then it should be easy for Squitch to say, hey guys, I need you on March 29th, and we can work it out with our bosses where we have to, where we can work a little extra and make sure our work is done so we can go and help Squidge or Chaz or Shane or Rose, because, you know, honestly, they can't say no when they're asked, especially if they're given tobacco. And it puts them in a tough spot when they can only find 1 or 2 singers. And so I just think it would be good if we could get that excused. And I know it can be done because I've brought it up before, and I don't know when this was put in place. It was before you guys and before my term. But for the summer parties and the staff party, the winter party, you're given 2 choices. You can use annual leave, or you can go to the party. So you're basically saying your only choices are not to do your job. Them are your 2 choices for those events. And I think if it can be done for that, it should be able to be done for for the guys that are trying to preserve our culture, and the ladies that have jingle dresses and want to come help with the kids, sugar camp, whatever it is. And I just commend these guys they're trying so hard to keep our culture going. Squidgy and Kniff and Chaz and Darren and Shane and, you know, Geo, and I just, that's all I'm asking, is to let them do it, or to help them do it. So it shouldn't be a question.
Brandon, I know like the drum groups are asked to do like openings for events that are held at the Bay or here. Do you guys get requests for off reservation also? Like other events, like say in Fond du Lac, or is a drum invited sometimes to other events off the reservation, or are you just talking mainly for during on-res stuff?
You know, I think what I'm requesting would be just for on-res,
okay.
for our own.
Okay.
But I know sometimes they have some good things going with sober squad and all of that stuff, and I could see taking leave for that. But when it comes to like our own school or Northwood School or Vermilion or here, and I think, you know, that's when it should be just excused without, even if they do get a stipend, you know, I think they should be given the choice to accept those. I think it's up to $1,199 before you have to do a 1099 or something like that. Whatever it is, 600. But if they get $50 a time, you know, maybe they can take it all at once at the end of the year, depending on how many times they had it, or they can take 50 each time. I know some people don't take it, and that's, you know, that's within their right. But I know a lot of the singers, you know, don't have extra cabbage to throw around. So when you're asked to go sing in Vermilion, that's about $30 of gas plus food. So.
Okay. Corey, do we have, do we have cultural leave in the personnel policy?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. At first, it states that employees may apply for cultural activity leave to participate in cultural activities. Now, I'm assuming that application must go toward the executive director. I would like to recommend that leave be directed toward the direct director rather than the executive director within
like
each
the
department.
head of the department?
It then states under 609.2 that the supervisors are authorized to be liberal in approving annual leave. I would also like to request that to be changed to RTC excused, therefore not making the employees use their current annual leave. And I also have a concern about section 609.3. Cultural activity leave can be a maximum of 4 hours. For example, if we had a drum group traveling from Bois Forte to Fortune Bay, the commute time alone plus the setup time would completely eat up that 4 hours time. Can we also look at revisiting that and possibly moving it to a full day?
Yep. Simona, you have to go up to the mic.
Back in October of 2017, you guys excused 10 RTC excused leave, and cultural activity leave was on there.
Okay.
So
When was
I don't know
that?
if we still go by this. I still go by this.
Is that 2017 you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
October 4th of 2017.
Okay. So it is listed as RTC excused?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it came out as an email.
Okay.
You know, I like Randy's suggestions, and I think that's the way to go about it, is RTC excuse. That just sends a message from you four, or when Chief is here, 4.5. It sends a message that you know that you guys are behind the culture. And you know, and quite honestly, I know Squidge is really good at keeping us informed and keeping us in line and everything else. You know, it would be a good thing, and it would be up to the singers and dancers to pay that respect back to you guys, and you know, not take advantage of things like that. You know, if we got to sing at 9, we're gonna leave at 8:30, set up, sing, you know, maybe catch a little breakfast. We'll be back to the job by 11. So you know, those types of things have to go both ways. And, you know, that's just respect.
Jay, did you want to say something?
Northwoods, that he comes but they just come to practice singing so they can. Eventually I asked them if it would be okay if we open up to the rest of the, allow people that may want to learn how to sing or may want to learn how to dance. Ask, you know, this could be I was wondering if we could include that, maybe just like that, maybe hour or whatever to get up to the Heritage Center to do that. And I think, you know, we're gonna open it up to the public. We have, I think on average, probably like 3 or 4 kids from Virginia that come. They just picks them up and then comes to the Heritage Center. And so they don't, you know, they might go to a powwow, but just a Saturday session. Want to learn how to dance and how to sing. I wouldn't have to have, in my plan, or I guess in my event, I didn't expect anybody to really have a regalia class or something, or bring someone in to actually do that thing for.
Exactly, you know, the stuff that Jalen's talking about, you know, it's all about promoting and getting our younger kids involved, and to do that, you need adults that you know, that have a clear pathway to do those types of things. You know, summertime's coming up, you know, maybe once a month, you know, we could do a powwow over at the Heritage Center to promote our culture that way and educate people on who we are. I know a lot of people from the resorts, they're into that. They really are. And you know, my in-laws own a resort, and I've heard, you know, not disrespectfully, but they ask, you know, is there Indians around here? They want to see, you know, Indians, and you know, we'll walk by them 2 or 3 times a day, but they're expecting us to be in feathers and all this other stuff. But it's cool, they're interested. So I think, you know, if we set something up like that with Jalen, where we go and promote our culture and get our younger kids proud of it, it would be a good thing. And how do you say that guy's name? Ryan Bayan. I've been calling him Ryan Bagan all these years. Yes.
Well, I think that we've got the cultural leave policy already, but like Simona mentioned, it does say it's under RTC excused, but I don't think, to me, this is just my opinion, I don't think that it should have to be the executive director that does it. I would say the immediate supervisor. I'm not sure. Do you know why that was set up like that, Corey? Because, I mean, the immediate supervisor would know what their staff has done or if they've done their work or whatever, so, Cor?
Yeah, because right now, the personnel policy states that if a person doesn't have any leave, then they can be excused for cultural leave.
Okay.
And that's at the supervisor's desk right now. And so where Simona's reading that from is when it was approved at the council level, and the executive director sent out an email and said, hey, all these 10 different leaves are going to be excused from here on out. And cultural leave was one of them, as RTC excused. So the personnel policy, if we want to change that to reflect the RTC excused leave, would be changing a personnel policy. Because right now it doesn't, the policy and what the memo states here are not the same.
Not the same. Okay, how about this? Can we, I think it's a good idea to revisit the cultural leave policy in the personnel manual. So if we can sit down with, say, yourself and the council and maybe like the Brandon or whoever wants to, Randy, whoever's acting executive director, and let's look at that cultural leave policy and make it jive so it's the same. RTC excused, and I know coming from an accounting standpoint, we'll talk with Kim about it with regards to the stipends or whatever, but we'll get it fixed. Because I really feel that, yes, Brandon, I think it should be RTC excused, because we do want to support our language and culture, and we always open our events with a drum and a ceremony. And I know at times too they do close some events too, so it could be more than 4 hours a day, which like Randy said, it takes you at least, by the time you're done up there, it's 4 hours, not even doing anything, just getting set up and whatever. So I think we need to revisit that and then make an adjustment to the personnel policy, but we need everybody at the table to figure it out.
Sure thing.
So it's right, so it's right.
Maybe we can run that schedule.
Yeah, we can put it on the meeting schedule. And if it's, because I know the spring, the summer, all those events are coming up, and even presentations at Fortune Bay, so the sooner the better. If we have to, we could poll the council on the changes so it gets put into effect right away.
Well, we'll work with Wick and maybe we'll
Yep.
set a date, and whoever
Yep.
can make it, makes
Yep.
it that day, and then whoever isn't, and
Yeah,
go forward with it.
let's do that.
That's something that the senior management could get together on and take a look at that policy and draft that policy?
Yeah.
I think that'd be a good idea.
Okay.
Also, I know that the question was brought up if they've been requested to go somewhere authorization. I know Jackie has requested the drum group
Oh, yeah, down to,
a few
yep,
times.
yep, that's right,
and,
the urban offices.
And I'm not sure if Wendy will start requesting one of these days, but I'm sure Wendy from the Duluth urban office
Yeah,
will
never
more
thought of
likely
that.
ask them guys to come down, because
Okay.
they really, they really try to promote the band members
Yep.
from the res to come and do the singing.
I'm glad you
And,
mentioned that.
I think maybe another thing we should look at is probably some, I know our honor guard has been kind of lax. You know, we really don't really have a lot of guys on our honor guard, but maybe we should kind of include our honor guard in that,
Yeah.
in that leave policy with the cultural part of it too, so they can be excused too when, for funerals or wherever they're asked to be at, so.
I know one of our goals is to rejuvenate the honor guard, because I know we have a lot of young veterans now that want to participate, so I agree, I think with the urban offices, and then including the honor guard, because, and the cultural leave, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I think it's just a great idea to be able to say, I remember one time there was a big, for one of the buildings on the Vermilion end, and it was a good deal. It might have been the clinic.
I think it was the clinic.
The clinic, and I felt really sad that day because there was only two of us, and we gave it our best, but it would have sounded better if there was 10 or 12 of us, and that's what I'm saying. We had the last conference we did, we had people coming up and just raving about the drum, and there was only 4 of us, and I'm thinking, dang, if I wish you guys could have heard when Kniff is here and Joe, the other guys, that would have been 10, 12 of us, we really would show them. And that's what it's about. It's about being proud and being, taking pride and showing them this is who we are and we're still here. And they said they felt the power of it, and there was only 4 of us, but it's like to see where everybody can participate within reason. I know that, and like even over at Jalen's place over there. You know, if we did a powwow once every 2 weeks, you know, we can't go powwow every day. We know that. We got our other jobs to do. But, you know, within reason. That's, but I, you know, would like to go and help them out over there and show who we are and, you know, good things.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brandon. Good job.
Where did Chief Burdick go? Anyway, me and Chief Burdick were looking at Dave. We're like, is he getting muscly or what? You working out?
Thank you, Brandon. Okay, any other business, Randy?
Last one, we have myself, Randy Long, with approving and authorizing execution of 3 FY 2019 105L leases with IHS. And this is a program that our former attorney, Mark Anderson, our current attorney, Jeff Holt, has put together. And it involves funding provided from Indian Health Services to the band for providing healthcare services to or for tribally owned facilities. We had 3 facilities that qualified for this lease: the Nett Lake Health Clinic, Hideaway Pines in Vermilion, and the Vermilion Health Clinic.
The 105L leases is kind of a new concept within Indian Health Service. I had the opportunity, because I sit on the budget formulary process for the Bemidji area, to hear about the 105L leases, and there aren't a lot of tribes. There's like 579 tribes now, and they aren't accessing this fund, and it's a recurring fund each year for the tribe to get funding to help offset costs, because there is no IHS facility, for example. And it's going to be a 200-some thousand a year for Bois Forte, and we have to submit a plan, I believe, every year or every 3 years or something like that. But it's another opportunity to get extra funding for health services to help offset some of the building costs. So I think it's a great program and great opportunity. The only problem we're having is, on a national level, there's no extra money coming for it. So they're taking the 105L lease money out of services. So that's one of the things that the tribes across the country are fighting for, is that don't take it out of our services. Our people are dying, and we're not funded enough under IHS. It should be a mandatory appropriation from Congress every year, not out of our service money. So that's our next battle.
I have a question. No, we have the lease agreement number 1 for the health services here at the Nett Lake for $230,666. Lease 2 agreement for the clinic in Vermilion for $201,095. And then the one for the Vermilion Human Services Building for $35,840. Where does this money actually go? Does it just go back into the buildings?
This will go back into healthcare. I believe they're third-party funding, but I'm not positive on that.
Okay.
Any questions on the 105L leases? I know I shouldn't be doing this. I was told how to do this. There is a resolution in place. I'll read it. That whereas on September 27, 2019, the band submitted a proposal to the Indian Health Service to enter into 3 leases with IHS for fiscal year 2019 under Section 105L of the Indian Self-Determination and Education Assistance Act for the Nett Lake Health Services Building, the Vermilion Clinic, and the Vermilion Human Services Building, based on the fair market rental value of those facilities. And whereas on February 21st, 2020, IHS delivered 3 105L leases to the band, under which IHS proposed to pay the band lump sum payments in the amount of $230,666 for the Nett Lake Health Services Building, $201,095 for the Vermilion Clinic, and $35,840 for the Vermilion Health Services Building as compensation for the fair market rental value of those facilities. Whereas the Bois Forte Reservation Tribal Council believes that it is in the best interests of band members, and the reservation community to enter into the FY 2019 105L leases with IHS to secure a total of $467,601 in critical funding for the band's healthcare facilities. And now therefore be it resolved that the Bois Forte Reservation Tribal Council authorizes and approves entering into the following leases under Section 105L of the ISDEAA for FY 2019. List the three lease agreements that Shane mentioned with the dollar amounts, and that's basically what the resolution calls for. So do you have any other questions on the resolution? If not, I'll call for a motion to approve the 105L lease resolution, approving and authorizing execution of those FY 2019 leases with IHS.
Move.
Moved by Travis, is there a second? Second by Dave, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, silent, motion carried. This? Okay, no other business, we'll call for a motion to adjourn. Moved by Shane, second by Dave, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, silent, motion carried. Thank you, everybody, for coming.